She made a deal with the god of winter he came to collect. Nobody in the village of Ashford believed in the old gods anymore. They hadn't, not really, since before Elena was born. The shrines were decorative now, carved stone faces half hidden by ivy, offerings left out of habit rather than faith. Salt on the doorstep, a braid of dried herbs above the lintel, old gestures for old fears. Elena didn't believe either, until the winter that took her daughter. Mara was 7 years old when the fever arrived. It moved fast, the way these things always did in mountain villages. One morning fine, by evening burning, by the third night cold in ways that had nothing to do with temperature. The village healer shook her head. The nearest doctor was 3 days' ride. The roads were ice. Elena had no one left to ask. Her husband gone 2 winters before, no family, just a child, and the sound of that child's breath becoming something wrong. So she did what her grandmother had warned her never to do. She walked to the old shrine at the edge of the tree line, the one they called the king's table, and she left something real. Not salt, not herbs. She cut her palm and pressed it flat against the stone, and she said the name they weren't supposed to say. He came before she had made it back to the path. She described him later, much later, when she was an old woman herself, as looking like a man the way a glacier looks like water. The shape was right, but the scale was wrong, and everything about him was too still, too patient, too cold. He told her the bargain had terms. Her daughter would live. The fever would break before dawn, but in exchange, Elena would serve him as his eyes in the world of the living, watching, remembering, reporting for as long as he required it. She said yes before he finished the sentence. Mara recovered by morning. Elena never told her what had been exchanged. For 19 years, Elena kept her end of the deal. Nothing dramatic. He never asked for anything cruel. He wanted to know what humans were doing to the mountains, how far the logging had spread, which rivers were drying. He was, she came to understand, not a god of cold for its own sake, but a god of preservation, of things that are supposed to last. She almost forgot to be afraid of him. Then, on the night of Mara's 26th birthday, her daughter, now grown, now laughing, now safe in a house of her own in the valley, the king's table began to glow. Elena put on her coat and walked to the tree line. He was waiting, same as he had been 19 years before. He told her that her service was complete, that her debt was paid, that she was free. And then he told her the second part. The second part was this: that every bargain made at the king's table has 2 terms. The first she had agreed to. The second she had not been told, because in his experience, mortals refused it when told in advance. Elena asked what the second term was. He said, "You remember everything, all of it, every deal ever made at this stone, stretching back 3,000 years. All the names, all the prices, all the ones who said yes in desperation, and all the ones who said no, and what happened to them after." Elena said, "Why would I want that?" He said, "You don't, but someone has to, and now it is you." She stood there in the dark at the edge of the tree line, and she understood that her daughter's life had not cost her 19 years of service. It had cost her the rest of her own. She walked home, made tea, and sat down at the table. And the memories began to arrive, all 3,000 years of them pouring in like snow. She has not stopped remembering since.